gonna be late to my old funeral. I told you guys. Wow, the weather change has got me so like off. Oh, first of all, sorry for being so late. Um, I believe I set this for 7, and didn't really remember. I didn't think it was anywhere near 7 o'clock right now. But lay down now. Don't start, dude. Oh, I punch you. Yeah. So I apologize. I attached my ring to. So I apologize to anybody who has. Man, there's 4 thumbs up and one person here. So that means I waited and farted around and now I lost people. So sorry, my bad. So who is actually here? I'll give you guys a second. Let me know who's here. Give me just a second. Stop. Derek, what's up, man? And Billy, cool. Billy's always here. Billy's the man. Yeah. Oh, Rob. Bob. Um. Yeah. The reason I'm actually late is I looked at the clock and it was like exactly 7 o'clock, and I had just walked outside and I am. Um. Derek thumbs. Yeah. I appreciate the thumbs up, guys. Apparently YouTube likes that. So trying to get back on YouTube's good side one of these days. But yeah, I was exporting a video. I just finished a video for you guys. It is some storm damage. So we went through the whole process of like um, big big trees. They were pin oaks. They were completely littered with dead. I don't even think I put the video out of me doing the trees and cleaning them. I appreciate it, Billy. Joseph, how you doing, bud? Um, yeah. So I don't even think I put the video up of us when I actually cleaned these trees, but I did some pruning. The guy had 4 major pin oaks on the backside of his house. They were very large. We ended up cleaning them, trying to get them off the roof and guttering, deadwood them, and um, take some epicormic, grow some unnecessary stuff out of it to kind of let some wind and stuff get through in the wintertime, the snow. So I did all that, and the guy did everything he's supposed to do. He took care of his trees. He was, you know, I don't even know the word that I'm looking for. He thought ahead. He thought, I know that this is going to be harmful during the wintertime, with the rain, the snows, and then allowing wind to get through. And so he was very forward thinking, did everything he should have done. He had one tree. It was okay. 90% of our trees, especially our oak trees, you'll start to see something where a tree grows so large it starts to droop. It starts to just kind of lay over and gets very droopy. Now that's called rounded head syndrome, and that's when a tree's become so mature that its growth patterns are almost thrown off and it's starting to grow outward and in weird directions. So one of his oaks, which was the farthest one off to the side, the house being here, was exactly that way. It was so mature, it had the rounded head syndrome, and it was really, really droopy and starting to grow in some weird ways. Some of the weird growth patterns on the tree had to do with the fact that there was multiple trees, and the tree's only going to grow where it gets its light. So if you put a tree here and a tree here, this tree is not going to have anything on this side, and this tree is barely going to have anything on this side because there's no sun. They're blocking each other's sun, but they'll have plenty of foliage out here. So that's basically what happened in that situation. The guy was very forward thinking and did what he should have done. So we did all that work, and then the entire top blew out of this tree, knocked his electric out. We had some really bad storms, like some tornado storms, and it ripped his electric line out. And the really bad part about that tree, that specific tree breaking, is because when I was there and I did all this, we're talking a year or so, like maybe a year or more back. A lot of the footage that you guys see, you may think it like it's recent and this. Some of that footage, like that you see sometimes, is from 7 years ago, 8 years ago. So sometimes when you're like, you should have did this. Well, maybe at that time I wasn't thinking that way, because I can look back at my old videos and see techniques and methods I used that I wouldn't use now. So if you ever wonder, you can always ask. I'll let you know. But it blew the whole top out of the tree. The reason this tree was so important is because it was going to provide shade for the pool he was putting in. And my dog's swimming pool. He was playing up in it yesterday. It was so funny. But yeah, this tree was very important to him. It blew the whole top out. When I show up and I see it, the electric company was there trying to connect the electric line. They couldn't do it because there was a limb in the way. So they like didn't know what to do, and one of the workers in the bucket asked. He says, "Hey, bro," because I was just looking at it, trying to maybe estimate it or just see what, if anything, could be done. So he says, "Hey, he seen me in the front. I was helping the homeowner because one of his front trees had broke, and instead of he said, I'm gonna hook my tractor to it and rip that top out, and it had broke and was slivered. And I was like, oh no, don't let it. It's gonna scar the whole tree up. This that. Let's just cut it out." Prevent it making a huge scar and breaking a bunch of other limbs on the way down, because he wanted to keep the tree. So while I'm doing that, though, the electric worker's like, "Hey, can you use that that saw stick? Could you help us?" And his boss like instantly cuts him off. He's like, "We can't do that. You can't be doing that." And he's like, "Oh, okay, sorry." And I could see they went and looked in the truck. They didn't have a pole printer or nothing, and they didn't know what to do. They were pulling on the line as hard as they could. It wouldn't stretch the limb up. They were talking about tying the limb up, and I'm like, "What? This is crazy." So I went over to the boss. I was like, "Can I help you guys? I mean, can I go cut that for you? It won't take but a second. This saw is brand new, so it's gonna rip right through it. I'm not worried about it, taking me a long time or nothing." So he's like, "Oh, that would be so great." It's kind of that boss thing where the worker can't ask according to the boss, but the boss can tell you to do something that the worker can't tell you to do. So I went back there, I helped them, and they put that up. But when I showed up, I found out that he was in the process of putting the pool in right then. He had put a brand new pool house in, and of course the centerpiece stop for the whole thing being the tree is now destroyed. Well, in my opinion, it was gone. It probably should have been lay down. It probably should have been removed, um, but he didn't want it removed. So this live feed, I'm gonna talk back and forth with you guys here in a minute, but I'm just gonna give you a lot of like extra info, background and stuff on the video that I'll upload when this live's over with. So yeah, you'll see how much of this thing it looked destroyed. But he asked me, "Can I do it?" And I love a good challenge. I told him, "Now I cannot, now that this center that was helping, stabilize a lot of things is now gone, it makes some of these other points, they're going to be weaker than they were before. So I told him, I said, I can't really, guarantee any of this, but I will do what I can and we'll try to save it." You can only imagine a beautiful pin oak tree. The entire center just rips out, hangs all up in it, twisted up in it, looks gnarly. And it also lands onto a very large flower bed that we worked over. And when I was there the first time, this flower bed was told to me to be very important. The grandmother of the lady who lives there now is the one who planted them. The lady who of the house had watched them grow, had took care of them for many years. Her mom took care of them. Her grandma took care of them. Very important. A lot of sentimental value. Now, when I show up, this top is hung up in there, but it's laying on those flowers. But it to me it looks like it just laying on them, like just pushed them down. I don't. It didn't smash in really. Um, he tells me I could smash the flowers. I was like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, I don't care." I feel like personally at the time he was overwhelmed. He had so much stuff going on. He's putting his pool in. You know, the tree just broke on him. The electric company's there. There's this. There's that. There's his everyday life that he's got to deal with. So I feel like he was overwhelmed. He was just telling me, just do whatever. So in the video, I make it, clear that we're looking to not touch these flowers. They're laying on it now, so I want to be able to cut just the little bit that's laying on those flowers, drop it down on the flowers, and then take it off the flowers. I don't want any of the wood weight, none of the top to make its way down to the flowers. And on top of that, with it twisted and all hung up in there, you don't really know where the pressure points are at. This is where it gets scary. The potential for kickback when you're dealing with a broken, stringy, peeled up tree is insane. So, kind of discuss a little bit of that maybe. And the electric line had been reattached that day before, and now is right next to the tree again. So, there's the backstory on the tree that's coming up, and it's really easy to get hurt in them situations because you're trying to unlodge something that's way too big, and it's got these poles of shards of wood hanging off of it all over. And just like you would prevent leaving a bunch of stubs because you don't want to stab into one and have it go through you, into you, hurt you at all. If you left a comment, give me just a second. I'm getting to it. You want to take all that stuff off there. Any wood, weight, anything that can be taken off that isn't holding any structure, or has no pressure on, eliminate. So that's what I do. And it is a very sketchy one, but in those situations, you always want to try to work when you're dealing with something that's lodged and its next step is to come out. You want to work it from above it. You don't want to be down in here trying to make a cut and it fold up and hit you and stuff. So you always think about that. You want to work the top. So work positioning in those kind of situations is a major deal. So kind of discuss that. But now I'm going to catch up on comments and we're just going to chit chat. Damn, always late. No, hey, you must. I feel like you're talking about me, Clint, because I was 30 minutes late. So, and I'm not the best at reading. I wish these things. I gotta read every comment too, which is. Yeah, yeah. That's a ground pounder. That's what I have to do with most of the stuff. So, yeah, Clint, definitely. Just whenever you get here, you get here. I do like the interaction back and forth. So I wish that a lot of the subscribers would kind of join in on the live feed so I could kind of go back and forth with them, get to know them a little better. I backed out of a job last week. Oh, really? Hey, it happens, man. It happens. I'm sure you have your reasons, so sometimes it isn't even the difficulty or the danger, it's there's so many variables when it comes to, the travel or the the landscape of the place or the interaction that you have with a customer, or you know, just maybe your personal stuff that you got going on at the time. So I get that. That's definitely not something I would ever look down on a guy for. I've passed on him, and you know, usually, so I this is what I do for my pride. When it gets to those where it's like I passed on them, instead of saying I don't want to do that, I ask for an astronomical amount of money, and it scares them off. So there's one to throw in your back pocket you can use every once in a while. The tree was mushy and backleaning. Ooh, yeah, those are always tough, man. Because you know if it's squishy there on the outer, what's like, as far as like structure would. But there are trees out there that I will do, that I've done. Like I don't use tree climbing spikes. I use pole gaps. I use pole gaps on stuff that has thick bark. I still don't care. If that's the case and I have issues there, I'll rope walk. But I prefer the placement that I get with pole gaps as opposed to tree spikes, because tree spikes are much longer. But I do specifically keep a pair in my truck for those squishy, nasty, dead. For me, it's elm trees. And lay down. Lay down. Now. Now. Stop. It's ridiculous. Barking at nothing. The whole live feed of me doing that. um, I don't even remember what I was saying, so whatever. John's are always fun. The customers a good time. Yeah, I'm that guy. There's a tree on the channel. I think it's called Tornado Tree, is what I ended up calling it. That town ended up contacting me. It was my cousin's town. They had a lady that she was told that they'd have to bring in a crane, which would cost her additional like 3 to 5 grand. And she's on a fixed income, and the tree was laying on her house, and then the city was getting to the point that they were going to ask her to leave her house because it was too dangerous, and all kinds of stuff. And then they were like asking me if I needed to have like a hotel room and stuff, and I said I'll be there and we'll get it. So if you get bored and you guys want to watch that video, that's a pretty good one. That was one where the town contacted me and I was able to do that, where nobody wanted to touch it, and if they did, they wanted a humongous crane. Stop. Lay down and stop. He listens for about 2 seconds. 100%. You just got to trust your gut. You'll have a much longer, productive, profitable career when you trust your gut. Given a job, just saying that you don't want to do something is tough. I know a lot of you guys are like me, so I totally get that. But sometimes it's a must. You're you, you're I don't want to say you're dumb. Sometimes it's dumb to go do stuff that you don't want to do, because there's that really good feeling where you feel like you should pass on something, but you do it, and then you finish it, and you're like, wow, I did it. That's pretty cool. But I feel like that's a different feeling. That isn't a, gut feeling where it's like I need to get away from this. This is not for me. It's like ooh, this is gonna be tough. This one, I'm gonna be sore. It's gonna hurt. So right now, we have a big old oak tree like that. That came down. And we're going back. Yeah, that's that, John. That is so cool when they do that. I love that. I just passed some not too. Oh, yeah, it's out on a road here in my town, an old backcountry road. But they've allowed theirs to do that. The reason I think a lot of ours don't ever make it to that point is because we have lawns, You know, everybody's mowing their lawn, and so you want to lift your canopy up so that you can get underneath it and mow. So I don't think ours ever get the chance to do that a lot of times, and to the people around here, that's so foreign that I think they would think there's something wrong. So I've seen some really cool stuff, like I've seen some to where they've actually drafted and went into the ground and come back out and then went back into the ground. It looks like what you would think like the Loch Ness monster would look like in the water, but yeah, really cool. So I dig that kind of stuff. I wish ours would do that around here more often. We climbed it, took out a branch, took out a bunch of dead limbs, tested it out, and then made a decision. That's how you do it. The customer was cool and paid us for trying. That is awesome. I do the exact same thing. I know I've been there and I've gotten it, but it's like okay. I mean, um, there's. I hate to say it because I don't think like this is. I'm a little loose in the head, so I mean this is not for everybody. There's a price for me to take that chance, and I hate to admit that, but I've done some things that I think I should have never attempted or done because no one else would do it, and they said, "Well, if you'll do it, I'll just give you what you want." So, uh, I think I probably should have backed away from those. Even thinking about it afterwards, knowing that I did it and it was fine, but I hate to admit that because I don't want someone else to think that you know trusting your gut only goes so far until there's so much money. Your gut doesn't matter. That's you shouldn't do that. That's wrong on my part. So, but I try to be honest with you guys. Yeah, everything had to be chunked down. Everything had to be pushed out away. Also, I would have had to use a big saw on the tree the whole. Oh, yeah, it's a rough one. Also, yep. I don't like the whole that's long, too hard to take away. Yeah, it's tough. It's those are the rough ones. Hey man, trust your gut. Hey Rob, thanks for hanging out, buddy. I really appreciate it. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Hey, sorry jumping on so late. Had to work. No, Dan, you're good. I was actually late about a half hour. I didn't realize that it was what time it was. I was way off. And then I was in the middle, like, I decided I was like, I'm gonna export a video and get it. I just finished editing, upload it, because I have to go record these videos on a GoPro. Then I say on my phone and I hook up to my GoPro and I take clips from the GoPro and I export them to my phone. Then I take those clips into an editor on my phone. I edit them. Then I make it into a full video and I export that video to my gallery in my phone so that I can then upload it to YouTube so that you guys can see it. So many hoops get jumped through. It's true, I told the customer. Hey, that's the way to be. Honesty is get you a long ways in this kind of work, man. Yeah, yeah, very, John, very. Um, yeah, yeah, that was definitely one of them situations. And I found some time and I've been watching Bridge Burner's videos. So for those of you that aren't subscribed to Bridge Burner, you should definitely go check his videos out. Um, he'll give you a straight up, more of a, let me think of how to word this. He's going to let you in on his thoughts as he's doing these things. And that's the part that's pretty cool. Um, he's gonna tell you what he's thinking and why he's thinking it. Um, and he's honest about it. You know, a lot of these things that he'll let you in on are things that other guys are going to spend a lot of time in an editor trying to edit out of their videos. So, yeah, it's really cool. And I don't know if you thought about this, Bridge Burner, but as I was watching that, um, you had the okay. For those that haven't watched it, there's a house here. Okay, house, tree. Tree has a top that goes out over here, and let's say we're gonna it has way more than that, like tops wise, but there's one large one that goes over the house. So many mosquitoes back here. And then there's another one that goes out over this way, but it's not as tall. The high point is the one over the house. That's what they need to rig out of. It's very flimsy. So rigging off of that is going to cause the ground guy, which there's only one of, to have to grab every limb, rig it down, grab it, pull it, lower it down. It's going to be a full battle for every single limb. It doesn't matter if that limb is this big around or this big around. It's still going to be that same battle. You're reaching, you're having to do two things at the same time. It's going to be a rough one. So they figured this out, and it's really cool to see. But Bridge Burner, I was going to say, um, your two issues that you ran into on that was a good lowering location, and you didn't feel like this tall stem that went over the tall top that went over the house was very strong. In that case, that's a like a poster child for span rigging. So I would have cleared on one side of the tree everything that I could on my way up. Then I would have started span rigging from the big one here. I would have went up it like you did, but then I would have ran the anchor back over to the small one. So now there's a bit of a droop here. Okay? So as you rig a limb, it's guaranteed every time when you're doing span rigging, the limb is gonna, if you're two points that are at the same height, the limb is gonna lower in the middle. As you start to lower this one, it's gonna bring the limb this way. If you was to lower this one, the limb's gonna go over this way. It doesn't matter which one's the anchor and which one's the moving end. That doesn't make a difference. It's always gonna move to the lower end. So you could have ran that rope up through here to this point and then ran it back over and anchored it over here, or well, it would be like down here. So it would be pulling back on that stem. It would have strengthened the stem, and it also would have gave you a lowering point that would have been further away from the house. And then you don't have to have the rope whipped to you or nothing, but you need a bunch of speed line straps and stuff, or another strap. Maybe you could just use the pulley or something, but yeah, I'm sure that it wouldn't have worked as perfect as I'm trying to pretend. But it just, as a tree guy, you're always trying to, like, as you're thinking about it, I was doing the same thing. And I haven't got a chance to see the last part of it, so I'm real kind of stoked to see it. But yeah, just something I kind of thought about. I was actually watching August's new video, and he was span rigging. And I guess some of the old heads call it belly rigging. So I'm an old head. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But it's span rigging. It's not you're not connecting and lowering down a point. You're rigging from two separate points, and it's rigged off of a span of rope in between these two, and it's gonna move down it. So August didn't work out right. The reason it didn't lower it where he thought it was going to is because his rigging point one was when you're span rigging, if you have offset, they're not at the same height. The limb is going to travel to the one that's the lowest. So as it starts, the further the distance, the closer over here it's going to get. So if you're like from here to here, it's really, as you're lowering that limb, it's going to make its way all the way over to this side, and you're going to fight it down this side. Now, the higher up it gets, it's going to move close, but it won't go all the way over. So as that thing moves, that limb will go over. So that's just a, it's going to travel the line. It's going to want to come over. Just a technique that I think I've seen explained. Well, I almost don't know that I've really seen span rigging explained. I'm sure that it's out there. I've never looked it up, but that's one of the real detailed points about span rigging that I feel like doesn't get kind of touched on when people explain. When you start to, a lot of times you're not going to have two exact points at the exact same height. They're going to be at different heights. Doesn't mean that you can't use it to span rig. Just means that you're going to have to predict where that limb's going to end up at, especially when you're trying to be very precise with where you lower it. So knowing that as you move that back and forth, that'll help you predict where it's going to go. If that makes any sense. If it made no sense, I apologize. Just ignore it. You look like something from a horn. Yeah, it did. It was the most insane thing I've ever seen. When I walked back there and looked at it, it just looked like a bush. And the bad part is the hard maple that was inside of that bush was completely dead. But the ivy was thriving. It was just booming. So, Squirrely, what's up? Yeah, but you guys definitely go check out Bridge Burner's stuff. It's cool. It's really cool. It's not something that I see on YouTube. So I'll be straight up with you. There's a billion different guys on YouTube making Hollywood style videos where they look like a badass and every cut goes perfect. And if you like that, there's plenty of content out there for you. You can throw a dart at a board and pick one. But I kind of want a little more than that. I love knowing what runs through a guy's mind and how he processes it, because you can find yourself learning things when you do that, and you get to know what someone's thinking. So makes you think. Got a link? Absolutely right. Yeah. Um, well, it's Bridge Burner right here. So it's Bridge Burners TV. Yeah, like offsetting the line. We were gonna try that. Yeah, because I mean it's tough though. Span rigging isn't, because you're giving up some of your control, and there is potential for that. I was thinking there was potential for it to get hung up in the process, because the limb's gonna swing, it's gonna travel, it's gonna do a bunch of junk. That's why clearing it as I went up the rigging path would have been a must. Because if not, you were gonna hang up. It just didn't matter, you know. But dude, I was so stoked to watch you guys just dismantle that thing. Little, you just biting away at it, and there's a couple good sized limbs that got taken. So it was cool to see you work down that headache, step by step. So yeah, it definitely. Yeah, because the only reason I feel like Bridge Burner that would have helped, and it would have been a good idea, is it would have allowed you to take, because you were tied into that tall stem, it would have actually strengthened that stem by span rigging at the time. Or you could have, when you were going up, you could have ran the rope up to this side and then ran it over to here. Because if your redirect was over here and before it ran here, it's going to cause your one stem to kind of pull back as opposed to pull down as you're rigging. So a redirect in the right spot can have that same effect too. You just, it's the same process, because nothing's really happening until you create, inertia from the limb, and just you cause all this, weight to be dropped into the system. Then things start to move and do their thing. It's hard to really think about that and understand it. Well, you know what I mean. It's just hard to imagine. Like, I can take this limb that leans out this way and make it go back this way by putting my redirect over here to here. That doesn't make any sense, because I'm still dropping a huge bit of weight onto this limb. It needs to go this way. but it's just the way it works. I mean, it's geometry, which is way above my pay grade to explain, but I go off what I've done, what I've seen, and how it's worked. And that's just a good, to strengthen things when you think something's weak, a couple good redirects are going to make a world of difference. Um, I didn't get to show close up, but also you can, I've used pieces of rope to strengthen a section. You know, tie a rope back to this one here because I'm going to be rigging, it's going to be bouncing, so I want to add some strength here. There's all kinds of little things, but running the redirects and the rigging line at the right angles can cause so much extra strength and support that I think it gets overlooked when the actual setup process sometimes. Doesn't that also introduce compression into the tree? Yeah, well, I mean, if you're rigging off of, most of the time you're causing compression because the limbs are going to be vertical. So when you drop this off, you're going to a little bit of side weight, but you're then when the weight's on there, it's compressing the weight down into that limb. So um, that's what you're always trying to get. So, like when a limb's way off like this, the reason they run a fishing pole thing where they do a bunch of redirects up it is because the limb isn't, that same limb wouldn't require a bunch of redirects if it was straight. Because the rope naturally is going to run straight up it, and it's going to run up here, and it's going to compress. So you want to cause compression and not pull, like, I don't know the opposite of that, but, deflection almost. You don't want it pulling down on it so much from just out here. So if you have this bent limb and you ran your rope, you got your ground guide, and you just put a pulley up here and you hook it here, and your rope goes up to there. As you cut this, that is the max amount of stress that you could put on that point. You start to limit and lessen the stress by adding redirects down the bend, because you're taking the deflection that's going to happen, all that bouncing, and you're turning it into compression almost, to where it's traveling down the spar and you're allowing some more of the tree to cause support. As it goes down, the tree gets stronger as it gets to its base. So you're trying to put it down the tree, down the bend, to create compression, and that's where your strength is going to come from. That's going to give you a lot more support and allow you to do it safer because of those redirects. So it's a weird thing to explain. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I almost get there, but then I mess it up. Even a speed line may have helped. Yeah, bridge burner, definitely. I was going to say that would be the other thing. Controlled speed line. You could have rigged it, and then just hook the line up even afterwards, and like rig the branch normal. Have dang, I can't mark. Have him just hold on for a second and anchor, or not even anchor, just hold, and then you could go down there, take the speed line strap onto the branch, hook it, clip it on, and let it ride the line all the way to wherever you put the line at. So as he starts to lower, it does go down at first until it catches that speed line, then it just travels that speed line. You could do it controlled, and that would have helped. That would have been nice. Y'all have a great week. Hey, Clint, thanks, buddy. You too. We'll see you soon. Seen Trevor Ahern do it quite a bit. What's that? Yeah, it's nice, but you definitely, you have to remember that you're going to get, like, another thing. With these things so far out here, to have speed line straps that are using carabiners and stuff. Carabiners are very, they're not very big around. So if it's traveling that rope, now let's say we're span rigging, and it almost gets called double whip when the 2 points are so close, but it's still span rigging. But double whip is when it's in a negative rigging scenario, and it's off the same actual stem. But we're span rigging now, and we got this up here, and we're rigging 2 points here and here. We're going to rig the rest of this right here. It's going to drop down. It's going to travel down this. Now, the closer these 2 points are, that limb is going to cause a I'll watch it later. August just put out a video, but the 2 points, the closer they are, as that limb goes down, it's traveling the rope, it's causing a very sharp bend radius. So a lot of times guys will use F-rings in the middle as their sling, or they will use pulleys. And the reason for that is because you can, if you're doing a real big top or something, and your 2 points are really close, as it drops down and gets to here, your line angles, when they're really sharp like this, then you start to get concerned with your bend radius where it meets the rope. Because where it meets the rope, it's like this, and the clips hanging off of it, that's potential for breaking. So if you had a nick in your rope as it traveled down, it got to that nick, it was a snap. So that's where you want a good bend radius, so it doesn't smash the rope and have the switch effect and like break the rope apart. So the further you're stop. You drive by on his bike. Okay, the further those 2 points are apart, you don't have to be as concerned with your bend radius, because the 2 angles are going to be very far apart by the time it gets to the ground. The further they're apart, the bend radius isn't such a major, but the closer those 2 points come, you can create a really sharp bend radius on your boat. Comments. Thanks a lot. Yeah, hey, it's refreshing, especially when it comes to YouTube, man. So, hey, we have more thumbs up than we have people. No, we have 7, and we have 10 thumbs up. That's wild. Had a monster crane job here on Monday. Awesome. Oh yeah. I need to talk to an older guy tomorrow. He's kind of bummed out that the city's like forcing him to take down his trees. They're gonna start fining him. And the guy who he had come look at it basically told him over the phone it's gonna be a lot of money, because he told him, I have to do this. The city's about to fine me. Oh, it's gonna be a lot of money. So I'm gonna see what I can do to help him out and get it done kind of cheap. She's like, I'm on a fixed income. If there's something that can be done, maybe just be a favor, put them on the ground. Somebody else can do the thing. Who knows? I understand what you're saying. It makes sense all the time. Alright, on, Bridgeburn. Connor, what's going on, man? You know, yeah, that's what climbing do. Climbing, I mean, if you're on, way out on the limb, you're tight end over here, you'll be over here. That potential for that swing is there. But if you take your rope, you slap, you're right here, you're hanging off the side here, and you do a speed line strap here, and clip your line onto it. Now, if you gap out, you ain't going nowhere. When you need to reposition your lanyard, you're not tied in twice. The potential swing is no longer there. So, speed line straps can be so incredibly effective. And you don't even need speed line straps. You look up a guy like Giorgio Fiore, and he'll show you some amazing tricks for making redirects with just tying them off. You can always, he's got a thing called the secret weapon, which is a ring with a little beaner attached to it by a string. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but it's a miracle work. Like I used to use it when I first started SRC. That dude, he'll never know how much he leveled me up but he's a wizard. And I'm more of a visual learner anyway, so I was always able to kind of pick up on the stuff. There's a few guys out there that I gotta, you know, they really, like I said, leveled me up and developed my confidence in SRT because I didn't have a lot of time in it. You know, it was a chance that I thought, you know, I could keep all the progression up the rope where dual, I only get to keep half of it. It's easier on my body. Like, I can, I tell you what really did it is I watched someone rope walk and go up a rope like that. I had to do that. I had to do that. That was a must. Like, that was something I had to do. So, Francisco, what's up, man? Thanks, Ground Pounder. It was good? Okay, cool. August put out tall trees worry the elderly. He is so funny anymore with his titles. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I would keep my opinion to myself. I dig him. I dig his guys. I know it's kind of a bummer. Like I sent. Lay now. I sent his whole crew and them stickers and stuff. I think the only one. Well, I imagine Jeff probably has his somewhere, but Adam Zappa was so awesome. Like he slapped my sticker like right in the middle of his hard hat on his. Like I think it's the only sticker on his hard. It may be. He may have something else. But that guy. August just put out the most legendary saw on YouTube or whatever that video, and I think it's what it was called. It was something like that. But even in that video, you can see Adam running from limb to limb to get them. Like as he takes one of the trees, running back, and you got Jeff, who's so good. Like his guys are, as far as a mentor, he does an amazing job. Like I feel like he built Damien, like from the ground up. Like, I don't even know if Damien had ever ran a chainsaw or done. I don't know. I don't know anybody's backstory. Um, yeah, I don't know specifically on that, but like he made Damien into a very, very, very good tree climber. So Adam seems like he's probably a pretty good tree climber himself. I've seen him climb and he's good. He's probably the best ground guy I've ever seen. Jeff is just good at anything. It doesn't matter what he does. He's good at it. And apparently August is pretty good about anything he wants to do too. He just like randomly decides he's going to fly planes and now he flies planes. What the hell? That's crazy to me. But yeah, in that video, Adam's running around like crazy. And I noticed, I was like, oh, I don't know. It's been a few stops. You're right underneath my phone, dude. Stop. It's been quite a while since I sent him the stickers, but I think first thing when he got it, he never even asked me for anything. Like, I just sent one to, because I was sending them to Jeff, and I was like, hey, here's one for everybody. I don't know if August or Damien took the ones I sent to him. Probably, I don't know. I don't know. I have my like own opinion because like I've had my own interactions, but other than that, like his ability to mentor people and turn them into I'm gonna wring your neck, dude. Yeah, order to remove a tree, and it's thousands of dollars. Yeah, I know. Soon as that gets said, or insurance. If somebody brings up the word insurance, tree guys are like 4 times what it's supposed to be. I don't know. I think like some of these companies got in trouble Don't do it again for like embellishing their bids and stuff during the I think the hurricane last time I heard. So, wait tonight, just finished a big job. Oh, I didn't even realize Turbo's here. What's up, man? Is anybody else having trouble with the volume, like flickering? It could be. It could be like I didn't hook up. This clamp thing like clamps at weird spots, and if I put it where it's supposed to, then you see these two little black pieces like here and here, and I don't know. It's hillbilly. What do you expect? Is it still? You know what? I bet you the reason it was cutting in and out is because of the dog. Like he barks so loud that it probably shuts the volume off almost. Like he drowns the thing out. It's insane. Just got home from bed, busy, busy, busy. Right on. That's just hey. There's nothing wrong with that, man. Sitting closer is working for sound better. Okay. Right on. Yeah, I imagine this thing kind of blocks where my microphone here is. And also, my dog is literally underneath this, and he'll blow your eardrums out with his bark. Rope walking. Yeah, bridge burner. It's it just looked so cool. Like I hear guys say that they stop. Get. Oh, I hate 4th of July. Like, I absolutely despise it. I loved it until I got that dog. Now, he will do this for the rest of the night because I live in the middle of a town. Like, it's very populated. I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to light off artillery shells and fireworks until maybe the 4th of July. I don't even know if you're allowed to do that. But it has been artillery shells for over a week now already. And this is what happens every time he hears a firework. And this will go on for a very long time. Probably can't hear me no more. Let's move. I bet you, maybe, is this better? Can you hear me better? Maybe I can catch up on comments. Yes, I seen Richard from how many innovations have been talking to me? Yeah, yeah. Richard's like I would like the Saka. A mini one would be kind of nice. You hear this shit? This is every single day. And like, who wants to call the cops? I don't call the damn cops. Like, the cops should be doing their job right now and being like, yo, someone's lighting artillery shells in the middle of town. I should probably tell them to stop. Instead, they're busy getting a coffee at Casey's and flirting with a girl behind the counter or something. I don't know. I'm over it. I'm over that dog too. So. Some guys move through the canopy so smoothly, like it's nothing. Yeah, yeah. Makes you wish you wish you had that skill, or like wonder if they're just special. So Adam works his butt off. Yes, he does. Gotta go. Take care, guys. Bridge burner. See you, buddy. August is good stuff. Don't watch him regularly, but I remember him telling a story about dropping a tree on a deck. Yeah, yeah. He definitely probably kept my inspiration going as far as making videos and tree work. This is like Jaden. was the reason I kind of got into it, and I was really bummed when he passed away. It was kind of just out of the blue, and so I had started. Jaden is the one that got me watching August's videos, so you know that was kind of a bummer. But I don't. I have so many of my like friends now that I watch their YouTube channels that I don't find myself having all the time to see all of his videos anymore. And I don't know. You ever just feel like someone's disrespected you a couple times and you just don't really like you value their opinion to an extent and just no further than that. That's where I'm at in that situation. Yeah, he won't shut up. He's still in there barking right now. Yeah, I know. I'm used to being out in the country. Like, I never minded fireworks. I think the people that are lighting off the fireworks must have also lived in the country because they think it's okay to do this. I don't know. I mean, it's bad enough. Like, my neighbor is gonna have like he has a full fledged like firework display out here in the road, and like people jumping in my yard last year, trying to park in my yard. I don't know, man. I wish I lived in the woods so I could stay away from everybody, and they couldn't bother me or you know. Living in the country. I wish so much I lived in the country again. I was born, raised in the country, and now I live in the city. And nah, it's not that cool. I'm a city slicker for the most part. Hey, I can get, I can handle it. I can handle it. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It just puts me around a lot of people. I would dislike the same person in the country because they're disrespectful. They don't respect other people. They want what they want, and they want it when they want it, and they don't care if it affects everyone in the process. Um, it doesn't matter what. I will not click with that kind of person. That's just me. So trying to think if there's anything else I kind of want to discuss. I think we pretty much went over everything. Tried to give you the full backstory on the video that I'm gonna upload. Um, I need to come up with a title, but other than that, we're good to go on it. I will upload it hopefully tonight. Yeah, tonight. I'll upload it tonight for you guys that kind of. It's the reason I was late. So I do apologize once again for the live feed coming in late. I appreciate you guys giving me your time and attention. Um, realize that that's worth a lot. Like, don't some of these YouTubers are like, I need you to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell notification every single time. Like, you guys are robots. Your time and attention is worth a lot. So like, just remember that. Don't let other people take it for granted, and you know what I mean. Well, the only city I want to call home is La Crosse, Wisconsin, due to the awesome bluffs and recreation. That sounds cool. Your other house where you were showing your. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It was. It was right. It was right. It was still. It was considered in city limits. No, actually, it was directly outside the city limits. So it was close enough that I could go. Like if I wanted to ride a bike, I could have rode a bike into town. That's That's cool. Um, I had to suffer as a kid, a teenager. Like I rode my bike 10 miles to go to town to go hang out with my friends. Um, it was nothing like that. It was very close. It was very convenient. And it was just far enough out that you got your privacy and you weren't bothered. So yeah, that location was very nice. Now my parents actually um, own a place that's the same. It's just right outside city limits now. And they used to live 10 miles out of city. But now they're just right outside city limits, which is cool. I can see them a lot easier. They don't have to go so far to go in and get stuff. You know, that's the only bad part about living too far away is the travel to get anything. And then when you want like something delivered, like no one will deliver it. You can even like we used to try to bribe the Pizza Hut guy, like, dude, I will give you $20 on top of your normal tip. You just bring me a pizza because I don't want to drive. And they're like, "No, I'll meet you at the rock quarry," which was like 8 miles away, which is dumb. Yeah, he should have took that 20 if I was him. I would have. Last 4th of July, my neighbors were setting off fireworks, and I scared the hell out of them when I fired off a few rounds. Yeah, I mean, is that legal? Can I do that? Because my 12 gauge is inside, so we'll switch out and just go ham with it. I don't know. My dog is still barking. I bet he's driving my wife crazy. Guys, let me catch up on these comments. Nothing like, yeah, yeah, I'm telling you. The oxygen looks really well. Awesome. That's awesome, dude. Joseph, hey, buddy, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate the hell out of it. I really do. Better than anything on TV. That ain't saying much, though. I don't watch any TV anymore, if I'm being honest. So, I used to be a big NBA basketball fan until they brought politics into it and stuff, so not so much no more. I do keep up with UFC. I watch every single fight, so but I do that on my phone. I bet it will. Jesus Christ. It's gonna wake the dead. Well, I'm telling you, a damn pizza, sometimes you just want a pizza. And it doesn't matter how much, like, you'll pay it. Just drive. And that was back when gas was like, alright, when I started driving, I don't know about you guys. When I started driving, I got gas for 89 cents at Casey's. I don't know if you guys have Casey's where you're at. Casey's General Store. I could get regular gas for 89 cents, and I could get what they call, at the time, they call it premium now, which is BS, but it was super unleaded, and it was 98 cents. That's how much it was when I started driving. I don't know what the hell happened. We need to work back the other way. This is not working for me. I'm about to go battery powered everything. Those people that bought Teslas are looking so smart right now when I thought they were so dumb. So, hey, you too, Ground Pounder. Have a good one, guys. It's legal, just shoot in the ground. Right on. Oh my. Word of advice only. Only comment one crime at a time. Yeah, exactly. And what someone told me that I enjoy a little bit of TV, but nothing new. Yeah, I'm the same. Pizzas are 80 with a dozen wings and up there. Oh man, eh, that's sometimes you pay it though. That's just what we do. I remember when gas was 50 cents. Man, that'd be awesome. Yeah, yeah, 'cause you gotta take out a second mortgage to get a full tank anymore. So, guys, I'm gonna go tape my dog's mouth shut. And but thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. I will upload you guys' video as quick as I can get it up. But by the morning, it'll be up for you, guaranteed. If you stay up late, I'll have it up for you tonight. Thanks for hanging out. I'll catch you guys on the next one.